Coming up in the news, Grand Bahamas unemployment figure is expected to turn around in the new year. Also, a new passenger processing area for Bahamas Air. And an update tonight on that young Grand Bahama woman paired missing in New York. The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Shashina Wolparkis, and as always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping news, the results of a recent survey conducted by the Department of Social Services creating a bit of a stir here on Grand Bahama. The door-to-door assessment estimates that the island's post-Hurricane Dorian unemployment numbers could be around 50%. Tonight, a leading government official is cautioning residents to pay closer attention to the statistics provided by the Department of Statistics. Social Services providing a report this week that based on its door-to-door survey, the unemployment rate on the island of Grand Bahama post-Hurricane Dorian is pegged at around 50%. However, the Minister of State for Grand Bahama, the Honorable Kwesi Thompson, is giving this caution.
The Department of Statistics really is the entity that is responsible for producing our unemployment statistics. And so, I would rely more heavily on the unemployment statistics that come from the Department of Statistics.
Noting that the Department of Statistics is the government entity responsible for producing these numbers, Thompson says before the hurricane, a report was produced by the Department of Statistics that revealed that this island experienced the lowest unemployment statistics in recent time.
2019, early 2019, we saw the improvement of the unemployment numbers. We saw the unemployment numbers go down to 10.9, which was the lowest for several years. We saw a number of businesses open up. We saw a number of our deals, those big deals, move forward. And so we were really on a good track, I think, prior to the hurricane. And obviously Hurricane Dorian put a real sort of dent in the progress that we were making.
The Minister of State says he believes that despite it all, the government continues to aggressively put in place initiatives that will spur economic activity, and he contends that 2020 will have a much brighter outlook.
Progress, though, has been made, and progress continues to be made. And so I am always inspired by the spirit of the Grand Bahamians, who, regardless of the setback from Hurricane Dorian, they continue to move forward.
In other news, a new passenger processing area for Bahamas Air passengers here in Freeport. Effective tomorrow, December 7th, passengers checked in will be processed and they will be relocated to the Grand Bahama International Airport fixed-based operation building. All passengers holding tickets are directed to that building for departures. All domestic flights will arrive there. Incoming passengers can be picked up on the arrival side at that location as well. Passengers wishing to purchase tickets for future travel can still do so at the current location in the Holiday Auto Building, the city ticket office located at Culmerville Plaza downtown, or by visiting the website. That's www.bahamasair.com. Now, passengers are also advised to arrive for check-in 2 hours prior to departure for all domestic flights. Flights are closed for check-in 45 minutes before departure. Now, direct flights to Fort Lauderdale from Freeport will also be announced in the short future. Management of the national flag carrier wants to say thank you to the public for their patience while the transition to normalcy continues. Telecommunications company Alive today relaunching its 8 Mile Walk, a storefront in the Hot Dog Plaza just in time for the holidays. Senior Alive champion Talia Davis says Alive is making their presence felt in the West.
We always had a store here, but we want people to realize how important our 8 Mile community is to us. So we decided to relaunch our store, and we added a suite of new products and services and accessories. And today we're going to give back to our community, because community is so important to us. It's important, especially for the western side of the island. Since post-Dorian, it was been so traumatic that, people didn't even realize that Alive was even in the West. So today we're going to relaunch it. So we have lots of things going on. We're giving away lots of prizes.
She says having a location in 8 Mile Walk was important to the company, and the community response has been great. She adds that residents in the West can expect nothing less as they aim to provide the same services as their Freeport locations.
8 Mile Walk is one of the oldest and largest communities in Grand Bahama, and so we saw it fit that we should definitely let people know that we are here and Alive is here and we don't have nowhere to go. If you could see, our stores are totally full with people. A lot of people, because the hot dog plaza is probably inside of the community, a lot of people didn't realize until you saw a lovely wall that's branded Alive. So now people are aware that they don't have to go all the way to Lucaya. They could come into 8 Mile Walk, or they could come from West End to 8 Mile Walk into our Alive stores.
Switching gears now, the Florida Caribbean Cruise Association, along with the Ministry of Tourism, spreading some holiday cheer to 200 children from 6 public primary schools on Grand Bahama. The students were treated to lunch at the Freeport Harbor and were able to spend some time with Santa Claus and his helpers. Italia Hall was also there.
It's an annual holiday event for the Florida Caribbean Cruise Association and the Ministry of Tourism. Some 200 gifts were presented to the students from 6 local primary schools. They were also provided with a hot lunch. Carnival Liberty's hotel director Carl Hallberg says the ship that is based in Cape Canaveral, Florida, spends a lot of time in the Bahamas, and they are pleased that they are able to put a smile on the faces of the students.
It's an opportunity to come and join all of the children here and give a little bit from what we can offer from a Carnival organization to all of the children. Since you've gone through all of the hurricanes last year, we thought it would be a great idea to stop by here and drop off a little bit of presents to the children. And we also brought my friend Santa Claus in the back there, so I hope it's going to be a great event, and we're very happy as always to be here.
General Manager of the Ministry of Tourism, Grand Bahama, Stephen Johnson, says he believes the event gives the little ones hope for the Christmas.
So we're really excited to be hosting them in sponsorship. We have Carnival, and they're very, very instrumental in putting this event on, giving the kids gifts. Just see a smile on their face. It's incredible. These are our future leaders, and we've got to make sure that we prepare them for the future.
These teachers say the gifts will go a long way.
A lot of the children that we are encountered with are now trying to get back to normalcy, and this is one of those ways of knowing that Christmas is still here and people are still in the mood of giving.
Forward to this event every year, and we want to thank the FCCA for just being there every year for these students, because sometimes this is probably the only gift that some of them get.
Hampton Academy is a small school, so therefore we probably won't be at the top of the list, because you have other schools that have the mass amount of kids. However, we still have a great need at the school, and we see children with all disabilities. And for them to feel special on a day like today, I think we're just grateful. We're just overly joyed.
Italia Hall, ZNS Network News.
22-year-old Ronaldo Hudson, now a free man after he was found not guilty of double murder and attempted murder and armed robbery this week in the Supreme Court. Hudson was on trial for the 2016 slayings of Jacqueline Ambrister and Noel Hamilton, attempted murder of Agatha Gator, and the armed robbery of Jacqueline Ambrister. A 12-member jury returned with a unanimous verdict of not guilty on the 4 counts. He was accused of the March 2016 shooting death of Noel Hamilton, Agatha Gator, and Jacqueline Ambrister in a small building shack-like building on Hearn Lane. The 3 victims had been shot in the head. Meanwhile, on Tuesday, as Hudson left the courtroom, he and his father shared a long embrace with Sherland, thanking him for his representation. And now some good news that will make this holiday season extra special for one family. The young Grand Bahama woman who was reported missing in New York has been found. This latest development brings to a close 6 long weeks of searching in the Big Apple. Megan Shepard reports.
God delivered for us. And we thank Him. We thank Him from the bottom of our hearts and want to show our gratitude to Him by singing His praises day in and day out.
The Hollingsworth family can now breathe a sigh of relief, and Deacon Jeffrey Hollingsworth says that all praise goes to God for the safekeeping and return of his daughter, 35-year-old Janelle. Janelle was reported missing in New York City for some 6 weeks, and many here in the Bahamas and the United States came together to assist in her safe return. Deacon Jeff says that this ordeal showed him the power of social media and, most importantly, the power of prayer and fasting.
We were just sitting and praying when John came home from school and says someone had contacted her about another person claiming that he works in New York and had seen Janelle and actually spoken to her, and just didn't know that she was missing until he saw something on social media, and he put the two together. And there's a saying that says, if you see something, say something. And he followed that and actually said something great, because we were able to finally get his name and number. My wife and I spoke with him, and the rest was history, because what he said clearly described our daughter to the T.
Deacon Jeff says that one phone call changed their lives from gross sadness to immense joy. The New York resident then got in contact with the lead detective.
And the two of them were able to send me a photo the very next morning, my wife and I, verifying that, yes, that is our beloved daughter. And she is alive, she looks well, very healthy physically. But clearly, Janelle is in the hospital now because she needs medication and some evaluation. So she's at Mount Sinai West in New York. We're going up on the weekend to visit with her and to be there for when she's discharged, to accompany her back home. We're very happy about this turn of events because it has been a heavy burden on the family.
He says that this is all still very new and that details are scarce.
We know that it was in a general area where people congregate, but all the details are so sketchy now, because don't forget, this just happened a little over 24 hours ago, and we're just elated that she is alive and well, but we don't have the details. I believe as I go into New York, and as one or two of my friends show us around the place, and we will get better acclimated and we'll gain more.
Deacon Jeff says that Janelle's safe return will make this Christmas season that much more special for the family, describing his only daughter as talented, loving, and full of life.
When she's on her feet and she's well, she's the most beautiful, most talented young lady you ever want to meet in terms of talent, yoga expert, model, at her age still doing ballet dancing. She's just a terrific person when she is well. And so we will get her well with God's help, with His grace and mercy. We'll get her well. We'll shower her with loving support, because that's what's needed now. And all the details and stuff like that, we leave them for the soap opera. But we do know that our daughter is alive, she's well, and we thank God. And we thank the Bahamas and the Caribbean, all these other people who called in.
Hollingsworth says his gratitude stretches far and wide as he realized the nation and international community came together to spread the word about his daughter and offer their prayers and support. He notes that it is easy to praise God on the mountaintop, but he is thankful to those that were there in this valley time.
The testing has to come, because without testing, there's no testimony. We have to be able to understand that the same God who helped you while you're on the mountain is the same God who is there for you in the valley, to hold on, not worry, not fret, not do something crazy, but just simply pray. And I think this whole nation joined us in that prayer experience. And it showed that God answers prayers in the fullness of time. We don't tell Him when to act, but in His own time, in the fullness of time, He acts.
The Hollingsworth family is expected to be back on Grand Bahama within a week. Megan Shepard, ZNS Network News.
Awesome story, Megan. Stay with us. There's more news on the other side of the break.